Hi everyone, so we're going to see how we can pass over values to another page using the .push method in Flutter. So I'll go to my desktop and then I'll run Flutter create passing values using push method. That's what my project will be called. You can call it anything you'd like. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag and drop that folder over. And you can see here we got our folder structure set up. And we got all of the content here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove all these comments that I don't need, and I'll get rid of that home page. And for right now I'm just going to say text hi, and I'm just going to make sure this works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to, I'm going to actually go to simulator options. So click on the simulator. Make sure the iPhone, whatever version you want, pops up. And then here we should then get our iPhone version there. So whenever you click on the type of device you want at the bottom right corner, it should pop up all the list of devices you can use. And I'm using iPhone 15 Pro Max. And I will just make this a little bit larger, and then I'll just test this out to make sure that it runs. I'll run debug. Perfect, so we got it working. It doesn't look pretty, but we know that it works now. So now let's start setting up the other screens that we want to set up. So in our libs, we'll make a folder and we'll call it screens, and make a new file here. We'll say home_screen.dart. And I'm just going to close down the other files here. So I'm going to make a stateful widget. And because it's stateful, that means something's going to be changing on the screen. What we could do, okay, I will just set this up here. I'll say home screen, and we have to set up the super.key. And this should not be, so we're going to use the create state, and we're going to have to return the home screen that we want to use. And this is going to be using home screen. And we're going to have to create another class since it's stateful widget, and it's just going to be class of home screen state. Home screen. And this has to be home screen state, so it matches this one. And I'm going to put the build here, and now we can return a scaffold, let's say. And here I'm going to have the app bar, and the app bar we're going to have a title. It's going to be home. I'll say home for that. And then the body, I will have a column so everything nicely lines up. And then main axis alignment dot center, so everything's centered. And this column, okay, this should not be like that. Don't know where those brackets came from, but we should have something like this so far. And we're going to have some sort of children here. And in the children, this we're going to have a text button. Text button. So whenever we press it, it's going to then transfer over the values onto the other page. And what we're going to do on pressed is we're actually going to do something where we're going to use navigator dot push, and this push is going to use the context whatever context it is, material, page route. We're going to take that context and we're going to move it onto this thing called counter screen that I'll make soon. And what it's going to do is we're going to pass over some sort of value, and the value will be of name, which we're going to set up right here at the top. We're going to set up something here like final string name, and I'll just put Bob. So private value here in this function, but we're going to pass it over onto the other page. We're going to use this counter screen, and for this child, this is just so we have some sort of text here, and it'll just say pass over value or something. There we go. So let's just fix up this error, and this should actually be a comma right there. And then counter screen, we're going to have to make that. So counter and we'll make a stateful widget again. Counter screen state. So we're going to make this counter screen state, and it extends the state of the counter screen. And I have to make sure I change this to counter screen. And here we can make the build, and we'll return another scaffold. And we'll put app bar. Title. Counter area. And I'll just put the body. Text. And what we're going to say here is, because we're passing something over to this counter screen, we want to also have required this dot value. So then we need to have final string value, and the value will be something that we use here. So we're going to use widget.value. So whatever is being passed over, we should be able to see it as a text in the body here. Let's first see, I need to import the counter screen here on this page, that's why it's red. So I will import package. It's actually going to be coming from the passing values, push method, screens, counter screen. Save it, save that, and let's refresh this. And of course I have to change this in the main.dart because it has to point to the home screen, and make sure it's imported at the top. And you can see we got the home, the app bar, and then here's our button, passover value. If I click on it, counter area, now we get Bob, because we had the string value of Bob at the home screen state, and we're using this dot push in order to push it over to the other page because we're calling that counter screen, and the counter screen is taking that value with whatever that private name variable is, and we're going to actually pass it over so it can be used here in the counter screen. So it has to require that value being passed over, and we're going to set up that variable to use value here. And what we can do is, based on that widget that's being passed over, it's going to be widget.value in the body of the text, so then it's able to use that word Bob.